Greetings! Mario has broken his legs, and he can't walk or run anymore. But he still has to save the princess. But what are the rules? Well, the rules are simple. I can't run or walk. Which means that my only way of movement is going to be crawling or backflipping or slide jumping or a few other kinds of jumps. And a little note on the rules, because in Mario 64, I don't know if it's just the controls, the emulator, or what, but sometimes Mario wouldn't backflip again and he would just start walking, but I'm not going to count that, mainly because it was too annoying and I don't know what even caused it, and also because it never affected the challenge in any significant way, so I don't really care about it. But other than that, make sure to subscribe as we're nearly at 200 subscribers, and let's get into the challenge. Before getting too far into this challenge, I should also mention that I implemented the no walking rule like 10 stars in, but I was backflipping mostly throughout the earlier part of this challenge anyways, but just a little heads up. Starting off, I slowly waltzed my ass over to Bob-omb's battlefield, but once inside Bob-omb's battlefield, I decided to go do the chomp star first because it was the closest to me, and after 5 minutes of walking and failing, I do eventually manage to get the star. After spending another 5 minutes dragging Mario's crippled booty up the mountain in Bob-omb's battlefield, we go up to crep check King Bob-omb. But seriously, what are those? And so, for his bad creps, we decide to kill him, and we also take his star, because he does not deserve it. Then, I go to try to race Koopa the Quick, but that obviously fails. Even though I did try to use the cannon, although I would have just been called out for cheating. But anyways, after failing the race, I get to shoot to the island in the Sky Star, to move on. After getting 3 stars, I go to Cool Man because I feel like there's going to be a good amount of stars for me to do here. And I was correct, with the first star being the slide. I was easily able to do it because I was just sliding on my ass and I didn't have to run or even do any movement because I was just sliding. So yeah, it was pretty easy. I then drop off Mama Penguin's kid back because by this point in the challenge, I was still allowed to walk. But yeah, other than that, I get that star and move on. I then give up on the Penguin Race star and instead go to Peach's secret slide instead, which was possible. Then going into Womb's fortress, I fool around a bit and then I die to a piranha plant because I was apparently trying to do something. I don't know what, but yeah, I do die to a piranha plant. But other than dying, I then go fight the King Flump and I kill him because he can beat the fight standing still, which is what I do, basically. Then backflipping back into Womb's fortress, we get to backflipping some more so we can go to the top of the tower, getting the star. Then we call a taxi to help Mario to get into the Fall into the Cage star, mainly because that's the only way we can do it. Then we call the taxi again to get to the other side of Womb's fortress, because I don't want to backflip all the way there, because that would take like 5 minutes. But after getting there, we unlock the cannon, and then I apparently do shoot into the wild blue star correctly. I never even knew you were meant to use the cannon to get here, but turns out you do. But yeah, we got the star and move on. Then I give Mario brain damage by shooting him headfirst into a brick wall, and he somehow manages to break it, but there was a star inside, which we happily take. Then we go to Jolly Roger Bay, and luckily for this challenge, I'm allowing myself to swim, because I'm not running or walking, and yeah, I'm not allowed to run or walk in this challenge, and I'm clearly swimming, so yeah, I allowed myself to swim. We go plunder your booty, and we get the star on 1 HP. And then we backflip and then I plunder more booty from inside the chest. And I also swim. Then I go unlock the flying cap and do the flying cap stage first try because that doesn't require me to walk. And now we get onto the stage where I actually start to enforce the rule where I'm not allowed to walk. Bowser in the Dark Sky. So from here on out, 14 stars in, I'm no longer allowed to walk. But other than that, we get through the stage. I don't get the red coin star because that would be impossible. And now, the Bowser fight. This is really not fun because Mario moves around very slowly. It also takes a while to actually land. And also, it's very annoying to grab the tail. And it took me like a few attempts, like 5 or something. But eventually, I was able to grab Bowser's tail, swing him around. And then I was able to kill Bowser, allowing us to move on. Although it's gonna get way more annoying soon enough. Now, in the basement, we go to Leaf Land and we automatically get the wing cap, which is going to be our best friend for this challenge whenever we have access to it, because it allows me to fly, which extremely speeds up what we're doing. But anyways, we fly over to the big bully. I managed to play around a bit because he's only getting knocked back with the direction I'm facing. So this fight takes a bit longer than it most likely should have. But then I kill him, and because I'm only on 1 HP, I try black flipping onto those platforms that fall, but yeah, I kind of mess up and die, so I have to redo this fight, but we do get the star after we redo it, but yeah, other than that, it was just very annoying. Then I grab up the 8 red coins because that's a pretty easy star that I'm able to do. And then I go do hot rolling log and elevator ride in the volcano, and they were both pretty easy. I originally thought hot-footed in the volcano was gonna be harder because it's mostly a parkour star, but it turned out to not be that bad, and it was possible. To do anything in shifting sandlands basically requires me to be able to get the flying cap off the bat. So yeah, this stage is a bit annoying, but I do get the star from the talons, and then I go fight iRock, which was a pretty tough boss fight, because surprisingly the boss fight we need to charge us stuff. It's hard when you can't do that. But yeah, so this fight, I basically just had to do a lot of backflips and just get lucky that I'll be able to get to the iRocks in time. But a fun thing about doing iRock this way was that I got to have a lot of funky positions with me just standing on top of iRocks, and it was just pretty funny watching the fight. But eventually, once I got to the final hand, it was pretty easy because I just need to camp out, and eventually I was able to punch him to death after he charges at me, because once it only gets to one iRock, this became much easier. But anyways, after the second try, I was able to do this and move on. After doing Shining Upon a Pyramid Top, I go to Jolly Roger Bay to do the Can the Eel Come Out to Play star, which I definitely didn't game over on, and I definitely did it first try. But other than that, I do Blast to the Stone Pillar, and I then go do Can the Eel Come Out to Play a second time, just for fun, definitely. I then go do Jolly Roger Bay's 8 red coins. Then I go do Mario Wings to the Sky in Bob-omb's Battlefield, and I also go do the red coin and 100 coin stars in Womb's Fortress. Then I go to Hazy Maze Cave, where yeah, this one's not gonna be possible because I can't go to any of the starting doors. So yeah, that's 8 stars already off the bat not being possible in this challenge. But then I go to the secret aquarium star, mainly so I can get 30 stars to progress to Dire Docks. And I also forgot to mention I mugged Toad for a star, but that's not important. You don't need to know any of the crimes Mario committed through the process of this challenge.
I then go restore the Byzantine Empire as your just cosmetics.
What I mean by that is I go plunder the chest by the current, and then I figure out that I'm not going to be able to get the ring star with the vortex thingy in the water because I literally cannot get the metal cap in this challenge. So I'm going to have to just go do the submarine star, which was a wee bit annoying, but I was eventually able to backflip fast enough to get on the sub, deeming it possible. And before doing Bowser's Lava World, I go do Manta Ray's Reward and get another star. Now, in Bowser's Lava World, I die once because the bullies are able to snipe my slow ass rather efficiently, and because I wasn't able to be given time to backflip, yeah, they kill me, but going back into the stage, I get to Bowser, and the Bowser fights don't get any less annoying because now Bowser decides to shift the floor, which does sort of make it easier to get behind him, but it's still annoying, and this boss fight took me about 5 minutes to do, but I was eventually able to do it, allowing us to move on. As soon as we get to the first floor, I immediately go to Wet Dry World, because I want to just do as many water levels as possible, because they're going to be the easiest to do, because I can just swim around to get the stars, and obviously not have to crawl around everywhere. And so, starting off with Wet Dry World, I go do Shock and Arrow Lifts and the Secrets in the Shallows and the Sky. And then, after crawling around for another 3 minutes like a toddler, I get to the top of the town star before going in to Snowman's Land. Now, in Snowman's Land, I gracefully backflip in to the ice maze. I then nearly die fighting the chill bully, and then I actually die trying to get the hidden star behind the wall. But going back into it, I was able to do it without freezing to death. Then I spent 10 minutes trying to scale up the giant snowman, but after like 10 minutes I was eventually able to get to the top and get the star. Then I realized I can't do shit inside the igloo, meaning that I'm gonna go try to do the race with Koopa the Quick again, because apparently I haven't learned anything from last and I'm still probably going a bit insane doing these staff challenges. But after failing to beat Koopa the Quick, I just do the red coin star and move on. When I went into Big Boost Hunt, I thought I was basically just gonna go in here for like 5 minutes, dick around for a bit, and realized I wasted my time coming here because I deadass thought I was not gonna be able to do shit in this stage. But surprisingly, I was able to do the first star, which was a shocker to me. But yeah, after genociding the boos, I did the first star, which, you know, surprised me. And the boos in the merry-go-round was just as easy because, well, I just had to stand still to kill them all. And then I go to probably my least favorite stage in this challenge, the Vanish cap stage. Mainly because of the last part with those rotating platforms was really annoying to have to try to platform while doing only backflips. And it took me about 20 minutes. You know, it was very annoying, but eventually I was able to backflip. It was very clunky and I don't even know how I did it. It doesn't even feel like I should have. But anyways, I was able to beat it and, more importantly, unlock the Vanish cap. Then I go back into Snowman's Land to try to do the Snowman star in the big head. Because last time I was here, in the last challenge run, I managed to shoot myself to it first time. I wasn't able to do it this time. So I'm kinda sad, but moving on. I go back into it, spend way too long trying to get the green shell again. Because trying to land on those little white ball things whilst only backflipping is really annoying. And especially trying to position yourself is also really annoying. But yeah, after I got the green shell, it was all for no reason because I failed trying to get to the igloo. Meaning that I'm gonna have to go take the long way to get to the igloo. Sad. But after getting into the igloo, I activate the cannon again because after failing the shot, I just exited the game. And I also get the star inside the igloo. And then I grab up all of the red coins inside Snowman's Land. Then going into Tall Mountain, I do the mysterious mountainside star because I could. Then I attempt to do another star in Tall Mountain, but it just turns out that the little gap between the part with the log and the part with the chukya is just too wide to not be able to backflip across it. Which means that I'm gonna have to play extremely weirdly, having to do slide jumps or get lucky enough to have the fly guy there. So, yeah, this part, whenever I got here, took like 2 minutes just to try to get up there, which was kind of annoying, but other than that, I had to jump down because the fly guy for some reason got stuck underneath the platform, and then when I tried to use him to get to the lonely mushroom, I didn't have enough height, so I died. So I had to go back into the stage. And then I was able to do Blast to the lonely mushroom. Then I go attempt to do the red coin star. And the part with the Monty moles was pretty easy. I just had to do a little bit of backflipping because I was actually able to get enough height. But the red coins by the mushrooms were harder, mainly because of that little roof. But after trying it again and doing some better positioning by starting on the top part of the mushrooms, I was able to get the red coins and, well, beat that mission. Getting 50 stars unlocks 2 of quite possibly the worst stages for this challenge. Probably, well, that was my thought going into these, Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride. Well, I mean, Rainbow Ride is the worst stage for basically any challenge, but that's besides the point. Starting off with Tick-Tock Clock, I was having a little bit of troubles with the moving platforms because Mario's movement speed was somewhere in between a turtle trying to drag a U-Haul truck around and a man with broken legs trying to pogo jump. But eventually, I was able to make it past the first part, which was the hardest, and I did get a hand star because that was pretty easy as I just need to stand still for most of it. After getting the minute hand on 12 o'clock, I then go do the red coin star because that was pretty easy. And yeah, it was pretty easy. I then tried to do roll into the cage, but that ended rather badly. So then I went to do Pit and the Pendulums, which was possible to do. Going into Rainbow Ride, I realized that red coins is not going to be possible because there are like 2 red coins that I cannot reach. So I just went to go do the airship star, where I was having just a wee bit of trouble because I couldn't backflip fast enough to avoid the wind. But something that I do find out, and that does help me later, crawling can beat the wind. So I just crawled my ass all the way to the stern, which now is I have to backflip. So after backflipping, I fall off and die, meaning that I'm gonna have to do this again. But after coming back to do this again, I do succeed. And then I die a few times and backflip a few hundred times to do swinging in the breeze. I then go do Wing Mario over the rainbow, where I sort of fail the first time. And then when I was trying to get back up to the second floor, I just kind of decided to BLJ up the stairs. I mean, I know it's against the rules, but seeing how I already went up the stairs, yeah, I decided just to BLJ for fun. But other than that, Wing Mario over the rainbow was pretty easy. Then, in Cool Mountain, I tried to do the tricky wall jump star, and I was annoyingly close to being able to actually backflip on to the little platform. But I was always coming up just a bit short, which was rather annoying. So then I go to the secret book star because that star allowed me to crawl around as if I'm waiting to get revived by someone in Black Ops Zombies, but I was able to get the star. Then after doing the red coin star, instead of grabbing the star, I kind of realized there's a lot of blue coins I can get very easily from the booze. So then I go do the 100 coin star, which just required me to genocide every single boo, kill most of the scuttlebugs, and get all the straggling coins around. And then I was able to get both 100 coins and red coin. Then going into Dire Docks again, I wonder what would happen if I go through the giant hole, which turns out that U569 has went to go make contact and lead the rest of the U-boats, and it actually exits to Peach's Castle, which is honestly really cool. I like the amount of little secret ways that you can just get back into the front of Peach's Castle. That's really cool in my opinion, and if they ever decide to do Mario 64 2, I do hope that they do bring these little secrets back because they're really cool. But other than me making a Sabaton reference and saying what Nintendo should do, I do the collect the cap star, and I also do the pole vaulting for red coin star. Going back into shifting sandlands, I was trying to do the red coin star. And you know, everything was going perfectly normal. Once I got to the Tox Box maze, it was just a bit of pretty good timing to be able to get around them until I got to the last Tox Box when, what the fuck happened? I landed on top of the Tox Box, then it moved, and then I died from quicksand in the air, in thin air mind you, from nothing, by being on the corner of it. Did the universe just want to kill Mario? Seriously, what the hell happened here? If anyone knows, please tell me. But other than me being amazed by the universe's hatred for Mario, probably has to do with the amount of things he has genocided over these past few years. But other than that, I go do it again, and I easily collect the free flying for 8 red coins. Then, because I didn't know what other stage to do, I unfortunately go into Tiny Huge Island. My, probably one of the worst levels in all of Mario. But I go into the small side because that is going to be way easier to traverse than the massive side. And the first star that I do is the tip of the huge island because, yeah, it was pretty easy to do. Then I go to the 5 itty bitty secret star, which I died on my way trying to get it the first time, but the second time I was able to backflip fast enough to get the star. I then go do a bit of weed whacking, and after that I decide to go be an exterminator, killing a massive caterpillar. Then I finally get the courage to go race that penguin again. And I beat it after a few tries. See, I'm good, probably at this game. And then, for the final 2 stars that I do, I get the red coin star and 100 coin star in Cool Mountain. But now, with 70 stars, it's time for Bowser. I slowly crawl up the infinite staircase, and I didn't really notice that I already got to the top because I was just kind of chilling on my phone because I kind of expected this to take way longer than I expected, so I was kind of just walking into wall for a bit. But as soon as I realized that, we get into the stage, and I immediately start backflipping. After backflipping a bit, I start crawling up that weird little gravity platform thingy, and then I continue to backflip. After backflipping a bit, I crawl again, and then I backflip again, and I continue that trend until we get to the last part. That has wind, and I can't backflip fast enough. So, I kind of need to get past this part so I can go fight Bowser, and I sort of can't. So, does that mean the challenge ends here? At the very end? Well, no. Because, remember what I said whilst we were doing the swing in the wind star in Rainbow Ride? That I can crawl through the wind. That's exactly what I need to do. If I can get enough room to start crawling, I will be able to do this. But that's the problem, trying to get enough room to, start crawling, because not only is there a Goomba trying to attack me, more importantly, the wind will keep blowing me back before I even have a chance to start crawling. And I even fall down once trying to get a different angle because the Goomba pushes me down. But I was luckily able to grab onto a ledge and make my way back up there to continue trying. But after a lot of tries, I was able to sadly conclude that I was not able to crawl fast enough to beat the wind, meaning that this challenge sadly doesn't end at the end, because there was one trick I found out when I was about to give up, and that was that punching actually makes you go forward and beats the wind. So after going to try it again, I get onto the ledge. I let the wind push me so I can grab the ledge, and then I start punching and punching, and I just keep punching forward until I get far enough to where I can start crawling, meaning that we are able to get to Bowser, meaning that this challenge is not yet dead, and we can continue on. And it was also kind of made easier because I kind of killed all the Goombas. But other than that, let's just get on to Bowser, which is a pain in the ass. Remember how I said getting behind Bowser is a pain in the ass before? Yeah, I only had to hit him once, and those bombs were kind of close. This time, I did try to hit him 3 times, and the first 2 times are pretty easy. But the 3rd time has me needing to throw him like about 1 kilometer away, which is always hard, but with the added challenge of having to try to get behind him while only backflipping is even harder. And specifically, because the camera in this stage pans out a lot, which is usually mostly helpful, but in this challenge, that new perspective just made it extremely annoying to backflip. Mario would just mostly not even backflip, just strike a pose or start walking, which when I'm trying to do tight circles around Bowser, would just mean he would just stand there whilst Bowser just continues to breathe fire on him, killing him. This was extremely annoying to get around, and I still haven't even gone around it because Bowser would just kill you too fast. Because you can't get around him, because he would just start burning you because it's too hard. And also, I don't even think it would be possible to get behind him fast enough to grab his tail. The only time I could was when I did a very, very good backflip when he started to breathe fire into the air. But then I would also actually have to try to throw him into the bombs, which was a different challenge on itself because 1, I'm not good at that, and 2, it's very annoying to try to throw him into the bombs. But after a few minutes of just painstakingly annoying attempts where Mario would just stand still, allowing Bowser just to burn him to death, I found a little trick that actually made this somewhat easier. Bowser's charge attack. When you're a good distance away from Bowser, he starts charging at you. And when he charges into a ledge, he stops moving. Which means that if I'm able to get into a very good position whilst backflipping, I would be able to backflip over him and grab his tail very easily. So, that's what I attempt to do. I go backflip at the start of the fight, I go backflip straight to a bomb, wait for Bowser to charge, grab his tail, and smash him into it. which because Bowser was clipping into the bombs, I didn't even need to try to throw him. And I just need to repeat that until it succeeds. But that's the hard part, until it succeeds. Which this fight altogether took me about 30 minutes to do. But eventually I was able to fling Bowser into the bombs, completing the challenge. So, is it possible to beat Super Mario 64 without running or walking? Well, if we're not going to count the amount of times that Mario for some reason just started walking and started backflipping, yes, absolutely. And if you do, you're incorrect, because it is possible to beat Super Mario 64 without running or walking. And this is probably the most boring challenge that I ever done. But will this be a serious? Unfortunately, it will. Well, unfortunately for me, not for you. But other than that, if you like what you saw, like and subscribe, and if not, tell me why in the comments, and I'll see y'all later.